I know you have desperately been waiting to hear your name come out of my lips, and so here it is, Ali. This video is for you. So, Mr. Ali Dawah has once again inserted himself into a conversation that had nothing to do with him and has once again created a smear campaign against a Muslim woman. Unfortunately for him, he came for the wrong woman this time. I have grown some balls since last year, and I'm not going to be silenced again. This entire situation was, of course, born from his severe lack of self-awareness. He heard me talking about religiously abusive men, and instead of reflecting, he identified with that. He felt it necessary to defend himself, despite him not being mentioned, because he saw himself in my words. This, Ali, is your guilt. This is your own conscience screaming louder than my voice ever could. Now, this has truly become a concerningly regular thing for you to do. You come across a woman who says something you don't like, who doesn't fit your version of an acceptable woman that you've built in your head. And so you begin these obsessive campaigns in an attempt to silence her. You will send waves of hate to her, you will mock her appearance, her lips, her eyelashes, her hijab, encouraging your followers to therefore do the same. Anything just to shut her down. But what you're seeing now, Ali, is women are not backing down. You built your platform in a time where women were afraid to speak up. Women were shamed into silence. Women were made to believe that we couldn't access the deen of Allah ourselves and therefore needed you dawah bros to act as our messengers. You have genuinely been silencing women for years. And honestly, it worked. It worked for a really long time. But it's not working anymore. This is not a man's world anymore. Women are allowed to have their own spaces. Women are allowed to have opinions that do not please you. Women do not have to fit the acceptable version of a woman that you have created. And we certainly do not need your permission or approval to take up space. And I know what you're going to say, but I gave women a place to speak. I had women on my podcast. No, that's not what we're talking about when we say women are allowed to have space. We're not talking about a space that you create and you control and you moderate. We're not talking about being invited to speak under your supervision. That's not what we mean by women are allowed to take up space. You mentioned on your live the other night that you are so kindly creating a space just for the sisters. Ali, we don't need you to create us a space. We don't need you shutting down the spaces that we are creating ourselves to replace it with a filtered, censored, male-approved panel. We don't need you deciding who sits at the table. There is a huge shift happening right now, and what you are doing, Ali, is resisting that shift. And I get it. Wallahi, I get it. Because for so long, your self-worth has been tied to control. Control over women's voices, control over women's choices, control over our narratives. And so seeing women now taking their seat at the table, seeing women speaking up, seeing women laugh at you instead of crying when you try to mock them, I get that that must be really uncomfortable for you. But the tables have turned, and the more you are resisting this, the more you are exposing yourself. Every time you comment on a woman's appearance, every time you mock her lashes, her lips, every time you try to discredit her by saying she's emotional, she's traumatized, you don't understand that you are harming yourself. You are not hurting the women, you are embarrassing yourself. You are just showing the world who you are. You're exposing to the world that this was never about Islam, this was never about morality, this was never about protecting women. This has always been about control. And that control is slipping through your fingers. You are humiliating yourself, Ali, and you have deeply humiliated your wife this time. The main point of this video is this. We all know that gossiping online is your source of income. And I'm pretty sure it would take someone physically dragging you, clawing the carpet to get that microphone away from you. So you go ahead and keep gossiping, keep doing your thing. And I promise you, this will be the last thing you ever hear from me about you until you pull this move again. You see, I've come to realize that the same way governments create laws to stop you men from marrying children, you Dawah bros are going to need some consequences in order to act right. For so long, you have all gotten away with creating these smear campaigns against women, silencing women, forcing them to delete their socials, forcing them to disappear, making other women scared to speak up. You guys have continued oppressing women this way because you've had to face no consequences. So this is the last time, Ali. Every time you use your platform now to attempt to destroy a woman's reputation, destroy her mental health, destroy her peace, you are going to be faced with the same kind of backlash that you're facing right now. The same way you tried it with me last year, the same way you tried it with Jamila, the same way you tried it with Kay, the same way you tried it with Modest Street's daughter, a literal child, the same way you tried it with Dina Tokyo all those years ago, you are going to keep getting put on blast. We are not going to keep letting grown men bully women offline anymore. Ali, you built your whole platform off of arguing with people, criticizing people, humiliating others. And I hope you see that you are being humiliated right now by your own behaviors. So keep doing what you're doing, but I really hope this time you are going to reflect on some of your actions, learn from your mistakes, and stop talking about women. Now, ladies, I actually want to turn this whole situation into a teachable moment because at the end of the day, that is mainly what my page is about. Now, this situation is a perfect example, actually, of what it is that I teach women to recognize and protect themselves from. To be quite frank, I do not respect Ali Dawah as a man, and therefore I could not care less about his opinions of me. However, we're going to take this very embarrassing mistake of his and use it as an example to educate ourselves with. So Ali called me a narcissist quite a few times. And I know this is kind of like a buzzword, you're hearing it a lot. I'm sure it was exciting for him to add such a big word to his limited vocabulary. However, he hasn't been using the word correctly. Since I'm actually qualified in narcissistic abuse recovery as well as somatic trauma recovery, I thought it would be valuable for me to take this moment to educate you ladies on what a narcissist is and how to spot one. So Ali said that because I refused to apologize to him, that makes me a narcissist. And he said in his hate campaign against Kay this year that a woman who weaponizes sex against her husband is also a narcissist. Sorry, but your definition is just completely incorrect. A narcissist is actually someone who has an inflated sense of self-importance. They have a deep need for admiration and they have a complete lack of empathy. They thrive on control, and when that control slips, they will lash out. Some of the typical tactics that a narcissist will use when they lash out are things such as projection, so accusing others of being the very thing that you know about yourself. Gaslighting, so twisting reality to make people question the truth. Just like Ali did when he accused Jamila of inappropriately messaging him, when Jamila actually proved on her page that he had been DMing her dozens and dozens of times, mocking her, taunting her, criticizing her before she had even accepted his DM request. They will use shaming and humiliation, just like Ali has tried to mock every single one of our looks and our emotional states in order to try and discredit us. They will also use victimhood, such as taking a topic that had absolutely nothing to do with him, feeling the need to defend himself to make it look like he's being criticized for no reason. And of course, they will come with their smear campaigns because when they can't control people, they will then try to control how other people see them. They will try to destroy someone's reputation by outright lying about them, twisting and manipulating their words, telling people that they have left the fold of Islam, just some of the exact things that Mr. Ali Dawah has said against women. Now, I'm not going to go as far as him and say he is a narcissist because I am not clinically trained to do so, but he exhibits many, many, many characteristics and traits of a narcissist. So to all the women watching, please be aware of men like this. Learn to recognize when someone's attacks are not about truth and morality, but about control and ego. Because once you see through the games that these little boys are playing, you take back so much of your power as a woman.